A majority of the runners have been nearing the end of their careers lately, with some of them passing 27 years of age. Meanwhile, some have just not been putting in the same energy for a while now. But it looks like the teams are transitioning from their highly paid aging stars to younger alternatives with a pep in their step. Here are the best running backs who've been selected in the 2023 NFL Draft. Starting off with Sean Tucker from Syracuse. Natural running ability isn't difficult to spot on screen. It barely takes a few minutes to register it. A genuinely talented runner possesses exceptional vision, restraint, footwork, contact balance, and burst to and through the hole. No other college may have a better natural runner than Syracuse's Sean Tucker. Just during his second season with the program, he broke the college's single-season output record with 1,496 rushing yards. The All-American is especially skilled at establishing blocks in the Orange's defense zone. While many talented players have donned orange and blue, Tucker is undeniably the most proactive runner the team has ever fielded. He's topped the records of any other ball carrier with 44 carries of 10 or more yards in this season's beginning only. With 232 yards against the Wagner Seahawks, Tucker just had his best collegiate performance to date. In fact, the top rusher in the ACC had already surpassed 200 yards before the teams went into halftime. Given that Wagner is an FCS program, some people may not find the number all that impressive. However, it still demonstrates Tucker's talent. He outperformed weaker opposition as he should. In addition, since the beginning of the 2021 season, the 21-year-old has averaged 112 rushing yards per game against ACC opposition. Head coach Dino Babers is an absolute fan of the player and praised him to reporters after their 59-0 victory. According to the coach, he's got the ability to run out of his opponent's grasp, which is reassuring for the coach. He's also just good-natured and humble, and for that, Babers just adores him. Next up, Devon Achane, shown on the Texas A&M team. Isaiah Spiller led the Texas A&M Aggies in rushing yards last season before the Los Angeles Chargers selected him in the 4th round of the NFL Draft. But he wasn't even the most qualified running back on the Aggies roster. That standing rests with Devon Achane, who's moved into the spotlight during this season. He still managed 910 rushing yards last season, even though Spiller had a heavier workload. With 9 rushing touchdowns, the freshman also led the team. In fact, Achane led all FBS running backs with 105 or more carries last season and averaged 7 yards per carry. The 185-pound junior, who stands 5 foot 9 inches, has the potential to be the fastest player in the entire class. Not to mention, Devon Achane actually broke records. Now, Achane was also a part of the track team at Texas A&M, and at one point during his prep career, he held the record for the fastest outdoor 200-meter run at 20.26 seconds. Plus, he played a hand in winning state championships in the 100 and 200-meter relay categories, which led to him being named the first-team All-American, while his performance in the 100 and 200-meter events landed him on second team. These impressive records of speed translate onto the field, where he establishes his difference from usual track athletes who are straight-line runners. Instead, Achane displays amazing footwork and superb balance. The back doesn't need to slow down when he makes his cuts. At a speed of 100 meters per hour, he explodes past opponents. And he's only getting stronger, as his 2 best efforts came in recent games against SEC competition. Scouts will most likely be watching his performance against teams like Alabama, Ole Miss, and LSU, amongst others. Following up with Jahmyr Gibbs from Alabama. The Alabama running back blasted the Arkansas Razorbacks for 206 rushing yards recently, making it his coming out party. A good NFL lead back must perform well in all 3 offensive phases. They must be effective runners, capable receivers, and block when called upon. Each back's skills in these areas vary. Derrick Henry, for instance, is more of a traditional workhorse back who isn't always on the field for third downs. On the other hand, Alvin Kamara or Christian McCaffrey are thought of as offensive weapons who could be even more successful in the passing game. Gibbs falls in the second category as well, which could eventually lead to him becoming the second running back in this year's position class. Even scouts have drawn this comparison between the players. In the 24 games he's played during his career, the Georgia Tech transfer has 78 receptions. According to Pro Football Focus, he earned 90 or higher receiving grades each of the previous 2 seasons. Gibbs effortlessly snags passes, exits the backfield, and nearly slides through the open field. Before exploding with a massive rushing output in the most recent game, the back went 3 straight games with receiving touchdowns this season. Alabama head coach Nick Saban and outside linebacker Dallas Turners both agree on his ability to create spaces for himself to get to the hole, and when he does, he hits it as hard as he possibly can. Now for Michigan Wolverines, Blake Corum. After patiently waiting his turn, Blake Corum is not showing up as the main man of the Wolverines offense. Hassan Haskins and Zach Charbonnet were a complementary duo for the Wolverines coaching staff as true freshmen. Despite finishing second on the team with 26 carries, Corum averaged a pitiful 3 yards per carry. Haskins showed himself to be the more dependable option last year with 1,327 907 yards and 20 touchdowns, but Corum also showed up with 952 yards. The junior has no rivals this season in the same backfield. Corum has 93 carries, which is 70 more than any other player on the roster. Weighing 210 pounds and 5 foot 8 inches tall, the runner is more suited to a specific role. Jim Harbaugh, head coach, complimented his subtle movements to avoid contact. Some backs will make the cut 2 yards away, said Harbaugh. Blake Corum gets to the point where he can smell their breath and then makes a slight 6-inch cut and misses by the narrowest of margins. It's incredible. This ability plays in his favor, as it's considered vital in the NFL. A good back must be able to slip in and out of small spaces instead of the large holes that many are used to at the collegiate level. In Corum's case, he takes those tiny openings and creates chunk plays out of them. In fact, he currently leads the nation in rushing touchdowns with 10. His 4 receptions, though, are the fewest among this year's top 5 leading rushers, which may be a problem given his lack of involvement in the passing game. Coming up, we've got Deuce Vaughn from Kansas State. The current running back for the Wildcats has a tinge of Darren Sproles to his game. Deuce Vaughn is just a little shorter at a height of 5 foot 6 inches and weighing in at 176 pounds, but he also plays the field in the same way. The player doesn't go down as easily as his size might indicate, and during his initial 2 seasons, he forced 63 missed tackles. Throughout the 28 games with the Wildcats program, the 2-time All-Big 12 performer and consensus All-American has shown impressive numbers with 3,646 yards and 34 touchdowns. He also gathered some experience as a returner during his freshman year as well. But what's going to stand out the most to the scouts is his contribution to various areas. He's a fast runner and natural when it comes to receiving out of the backfield. He'll put his all into blocking when needed. He's definitely going to be forced to play on special teams, and if he does so at a high level, there's no denying that he'll have a long and productive professional career, much like Sproles. Last but not least, Bijan Robinson's impressive all-round play. When a player is facing a Nick Saban-led team, the opposition can sometimes provide the best quotes. Apparently, the greatest coach in the history of college football sees something special in the first-team All-Big 12 performer. In conversation with reporters, Saban admired Robinson's variety and skills. The player has speed and power along with an instinctive running style. He's a good receiver and can set up worthy blockers. Saban even went as far as to say that he's definitely one of the best all-around backs in the country, if not the actual best. At 6 feet tall and weighing more than 200 pounds, he's got the speed needed to hit big runs off tackle, accompanied by the power to run in between them, all while carrying the ball. Recently, he led all runners with a score of 34 missed tackles forced. Along with 2,345 rushing yards and 23 total touchdowns through 24 games, Robinson has 679 receiving yards and 7 scores, making him capable in the passing game as well. He's got an average of 126 yards, which puts him in the eyes of every opponent on the field. And that's all for this video, guys. Which of these picks is the best in your opinion? Let us know in the comments below. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. See you at the next one.